Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Han. You're listening to Han Talks First. This is the podcast you're looking for. The Star Wars show where we talk about everything Star Wars, and we got a bunch of great topics today. And it's cold in LA, so it's nice to be in front of a camera and a computer that's kind of warming me up a little bit, along with all of you bright and shiny faces. If you're an audio listener, welcome back. If you want to see some of the visuals and videos I'll be playing in today's episode, you can hop on over to the YouTube or the Facebook channel, and you can see those for yourself. But don't worry, because we're going to do visual descriptions for you on the show so you don't feel left out. But yeah, it's episode 85. It's a new week. It's a new Monday. I hope you all had a great weekend. I certainly did. A busy weekend, very busy. There's a lot of Star Wars news that came out. We'll talk a little bit more about some of the games that were announced on and other kind of stuff like that. But yes, you are listening to Han Talks First. We do live streams every Monday and other videos on the YouTube and podcast every Wednesday. And then on Fridays, we have this new segment of Han Talks First where we're covering the WandaVision television series. So we do that every Friday live at 12 or 1 p.m. Pacific time. And I do those with my girlfriend. We both host that show. So if you are joining us live, feel free to send in your questions in the live stream. Tell me who you are. Let me know that you're here. You can ask any questions you want to, and we will answer them for you today. If you are watching this later and you want to support this channel, well, there's many ways to do that. You could buy me a coffee or just help support this channel by sending in tips at the link below, www.streamelements.com/HanTalksFirst/tip. It's not expected. I'll answer your questions either way, but it's always appreciated if you want to do that, go the extra mile. And if you have been with us for a while and you want to join our team, we have a Patreon page at this link as well. Everything's in the description below. Feel free to go check that out. And you get special incentives if you join our Patreon team. So I am joined by a guest today, and I'm going to go ahead and bring him in here. He's been on the show once before, a long time ago when we first started Han Talks First. He's a great friend of mine. He is a fellow musician, and he's just a big Star Wars nerd. So I'm going to welcome Marc Lawrence. How's it going, buddy?
What's going on? Super happy to be here, man. Super excited.
Me too. As 2020's been going on, I've had like less guests on the show.
Yeah.
And I had to transition to like doing platforms like this where I can bring people in virtually. So I'm finally getting around to having more guests on the show. But how have you been? How was 2020 treating you, and what have you been up to recently?
Oh, man, 2020, you can tell already by the tone of my voice. Yeah, it was definitely a challenging year for sure, for everybody. I hope I can speak for everybody else, but yeah, it was definitely challenging times, dealing with the whole pandemic and losing jobs, getting jobs and stuff like that. But I mean, there's been definitely some blessings, within the year, just excited for this year, to overcome new things.
One of the highlights of 2020 was that huge Star Wars announcement that happened in November. Were you able to watch that live or just hear about all the new Star Wars coming out?
Oh yeah, definitely. I was able to check it out. I'm super excited for all the new projects that's
You're most anticipated for?
What am I? Oh, Kenobi for sure.
Me too. Most 100%.
Definitely. That and the Squadrons movie, that's going to be great too.
Oh yeah, Rogue Squadron.
Yeah.
I actually just listened to an interview with the director, Patty Jenkins, kind of talking about, working up to start to make this movie. And She just sounds so excited for it, and she also has like she's going to tell the story of her dad who passed away, who was a fighter pilot in the Air
Yeah.
Force, and she's just like really invested in it. And I think that movie's going to have a lot of heart. And uh, I think as far as movies go, I'm probably most excited for that one. But then the TV show, definitely Obi-Wan, especially since Hayden is coming back.
Yes. Super stoked for that. It's gonna be awesome, man. Like bringing all those old characters back. It's at just the right time too. You know, we all need
Yeah,
that Star Wars love to keep us going, man.
most
It's the
definitely.
only thing. Yeah.
So, like I said, everybody, Marc Lawrence is a musician. You can find him on all platforms where you stream music. Um, you've been busy with some music this year. You actually 3 days ago just released a new song called "Creep." Do you want to tell us about that?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, I am a house music producer, you know, DJ, doing a lot of electronic music as well as pop and hip hop. But yeah, my track "Creep" was actually released independently in the beginning of 2020 or in February, and then yeah, just recently got signed to a label out in Spain called Blanco y Negro, Black and White. So yeah, it was awesome for them to put it on their platform, and yeah, let's see where it heads with the singer is a good friend of mine named Karina Mora. So yeah, we're super excited to see what's going on.
Wow, that's fantastic. I didn't know that last part. That's pretty great. But yeah, if you guys want to check it out, I will link it in the description of this video and this podcast after it is published. So if you want to check it out, it'll be there. Me and Mark also did some songs together as well.
Oh yeah.
Most recently, a song called "Friends,"
Oh yeah.
which you can also
And
find online. But yeah, we're always creating together, and whether it's music or Star Wars, we're always on some kind of level of creativity. So the last time, Mark, that you were on the show was episode 7 of Han Talks First. Do you
woo!
remember what we did? What the topic was?
Yeah, I remember coming over and saying that I think we were speaking about what were we speaking about? Oh, just
We
like
were
the culture of Star Wars and like what it really brings to people and like what it means to them. Why does it make people feel the way they feel? And then I think our favorite movies.
Yeah, and the main topic that day was actually we speculated on the rise of Skywalker, what we thought was going to happen
Oh,
in
gee.
that movie.
Oh
So I'm
man.
curious because I haven't spoken with you since about
Since
Star
about
Wars. What
yeah.
did you think of Rise of Skywalker?
Uh it was okay. Like definitely I know a lot of fans, hardcore fans out there um have their, strong opinions about it. I for one, have definitely have a strong opinion about it. I definitely don't think it's definitely not my favorite, but it was a decent film. I'm just trying to be nice, I guess.
Well, what about like when you first left the theater? For me, it was like I saw it and I was kind of in like a lull space for
Yeah.
my excitement. But then after I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, I feel great again. But then like a week passed, I saw it again, and I was like, you know what? It was just okay. It
Yeah.
wasn't that great.
That's
What about you?
exact because
First out
I
of the theater.
watched it twice, two or three times in the theater. First time I actually, because I was just so hyped on it,
Yeah.
everyone was so eager to watch it. So watching it and then um just enjoying the movie for what it is. And then after the first time, I thought it was amazing. This is awesome. Whatever they did with the characters, and then the story. But then watching it again the second time, I left the theater just like I'm not quite sure about this. I don't know.
A lot of the people I talked to seem to have that same
Yeah.
mindset when they were talking about Rise of Skywalker. I'd like
So
to welcome to the chat Mr. High Ground. He says, "Hey, welcome to the show. It's nice to have you back. So glad to see you in the chat board. If you want
oh
to
yeah.
throw in your thoughts or questions. We'll try and get to as many as we can today. There so far are 5 likes on the video. If you are watching live, please give this video a like. It helps out so much. Show your support. Use the force. Push that like button. So
Please.
today we are talking about a whole bunch of awesome topics today. Here's a quick overview, and then we will jump into some of them here. So we're talking about Mark actually brought this up, which I thought was a good idea to talk about. We're going to talk about Luke Skywalker Deepfake by Corridor Crew.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about this new Star Wars book that's coming out. That's actually a biographical novel about the Skywalkers. So it'll be an interesting book. We'll talk about that later. We're also talking about Alan Tudyk, how he's not going to be in Andor season 1 as K2SO. Kind of shocking news. And the last thing we're going to be talking about today are the Star Wars, when Star Wars issued a statement last week about condemning the racist and harassment towards their new host of the High Republic TV show. Her name is Christina Ariel. So we're going to talk about that today and give our thoughts on it as well. So let's start off today on a high note, and we'll jump into our first segment of the show, which is Star Wars Replay. Enjoy.
Star Wars Replay!
Star Wars Replay is where we replay major moments and events that happened this week in Star Wars history. And this week, back in 1931, John Hollis was born. He, of course, played Lobot in Empire Strikes Back. In 1981, Elijah Wood was born. Yes, he actually voices a Star Wars character, Jace, in Star Wars Resistance. In 1984, Return of the Jedi opened in Egypt for the first time. In 2006, 7 Star Wars fans pleaded guilty to pirating Revenge of the Sith in Los Angeles. This was a big case at the time. And finally, in 2017, Lucasfilm announced the title of Episode 8 as Star Wars The Last Jedi. That's it for Star Wars Replay. Tune in next week to find out what major moments and events happened next week in Star Wars history. Pretty fun stuff. There was actually a lot more events that happened this week in Star Wars history. I just had to condense it down to a short amount so we don't bore you all day, but there was a lot of people born today. But these are some of the most interesting that I found. So I hope you guys enjoyed that segment of the show. And we're going to go ahead and start off with this Luke Skywalker deepfake video that just hit YouTube yesterday, right? It came out yesterday?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was funny. I got a text from Mark around 11 a.m. somewhere around then, and he was like, "Have you seen? Dude, you'll love this video." And it was a link to this Corridor Crew Luke Skywalker deepfake. And as he sent it, I was literally watching it on my screen, and I texted him. I was like, "I'm literally watching it right now." So you know me very well, Mr. Lawrence.
Oh yeah.
But just to give people some context, I'm going to go ahead and play a short clip of this deepfake, so our viewers have some context. If you're an audio listener, just stop by the YouTube page later and check it out. It's at the 14-minute mark. So here is the clip. It's different audio. I couldn't use the same audio, but here's what we're going to be talking about. This is the Luke Skywalker deepfake by Corridor Crew. So there you go. That's a short clip of what they did, and you can watch the full video. They break down how they did it and etc. So Mark, since you want to talk about it, what were your first thoughts on that?
I thought it was they did such an amazing job. Corridor Digital, Corridor Crew, they're such an amazing studio as far as
They are.
creating cinematics and what do you call it, CGI effects. So yeah, I've been a follower of them for quite a while already, and I just love how they always can take something and bring it to the next level. It's just something I admire, especially about stuff that we're passionate about. Um, yeah, just watching after watching it, and then because seeing that that season finale of Mandalorian, and then able to, we're still in that hype of actually seeing Luke come back. You still have that, that thought in your head, like this. I mean, it looks great, but it was it, the best that they can do. Granted, it is a TV show, and they have limited time, but the fact that Corridor Digital were able to elevate it and make it look so much more realistic was like mind blowing to me.
Really quickly, what was going through your head when you watched the finale of Mandalorian season 2
Oh my
when you saw
god, I
Luke?
think. Well, because I remember I wasn't able to watch it, right at midnight, when it came out. So I had to wake up like first thing in the morning, and that was the thing I watched. Um, and then seeing that X-wing come in, I already knew from the get go that was gonna be him. Yeah, and then
Were you excited?
so
Were you like jumping off your seat?
no, yeah, I mean, I wanted to scream. I was screaming with no volume. So I was like, because all my roommates and stuff, they were still asleep. So I definitely didn't want to wake them up. But yeah, I was so hyped, man. It was an incredible feeling. And the fact that I love that they didn't reveal his face till the end. Like, there
Yeah.
was a couple of minutes of just like, is it him? Is it not him? That's a green lightsaber. That's his glove. You know, I'm
That's what
not
was so
sure.
great about that episode because you see the X-Wing, you're like, "It's Luke Skywalker." But
Yeah,
the direction of that episode still made you like double check yourself and rethink, maybe it's not.
I
And then they
know.
throw in like the black robes and the gloved hand, and you're like, "It is." But they still had this sense of mystery up
Oh
until
yeah,
his face reveal. And the direction of that episode, I think, is the best from Mandalorian so far. It was perfect in my opinion. But dude, I was right there with you. But I was screaming audibly, and it was
yeah,
midnight, and I didn't care about all. I'm in an apartment complex, so I didn't care
yeah,
about all my neighbors, and I usually have the windows open because it gets hot in here, and I didn't care. I screamed it at the top of my lungs. No one complained though, so maybe they
yeah,
were watching it with me. But
yeah. I think so.
it was amazing. So we're talking about the comparisons between this new deepfake versus what they did. So here's the original. This is the one, this is the face that was given to us in that finale. And at the first time watching it, I thought, you know what? I don't care that it's bad because I get to see Luke Skywalker again.
Yeah,
I was like, this is what I've been wanting to see for a long, long time. Not just Luke, but young Luke in his prime. So I was able to put aside the fact that it was a little wonky and just accept it. And then this one came out. This is Corridor Crew's reimagination of that deepfake. Now, what they did is a little different. They use the same methods as Disney did. They said in their video they followed this new template that Disney put out about their new deepfake procedure, and they kind of mocked that, but added some of their own stuff to it as well. I was very impressed with this new Luke Skywalker deepfake. I thought it was great considering they're a small, independent VFX company. And, you know, I think I'm most impressed actually by the compositing they did with the background. They made all that from scratch
yeah,
and it looks exactly like it's from the show. And that was what I was most blown away by. But they did do a great job with Luke and watching their process. You know, here's the old one again. And I think in the video, you can correct me, Mark, if I'm wrong. They said they took 10 days to make this. Is that correct?
yeah. It was like a little under 2 weeks, with reshoots. So I think they first shot it, and then the body double it was who was one of their corridor members, staff members. He didn't quite have the same body type as Luke, as far as like his build and his, like, where his neck is. I think it right here, even here, like his neck is still a little bit thinner than Mark Hamill's. But
Yeah.
I mean, they had to reshoot it, so they added more like padding and stuff and brought up his cloak a little bit higher. I think they even had to change his hair. They put on a wig instead of his natural hair. But I mean, it looks amazing. Just these two screen grabs, like right here, like I think it's like night and day. I mean,
Yeah.
granted that regardless, they both look amazing.
Yeah. So the one thing, their goal was to try and improve Luke's face in that finale.
Yeah.
While I think they did a good job, I think it's still on the same caliber as Lucasfilms, and the reason why is I'm going to point out because of the mouth. So
Yeah.
in the original, majority of the complaints I saw was that it looked like Luke Skywalker wasn't moving his mouth a lot. It was kind of like talking like this,
It's
and
just the
the mouth
lips, yeah.
wasn't really moving. And the mouth moved the same way in this version as well. And they also say in the video, the eyes and the mouth are the hardest thing to animate in a deep fake. So I think there's still progress to be made with that. I think both of these versions are fantastic. I do believe Corridor Crew did a great job. I think actually the background in the Corridor Crew's version is way smoother and more
Totally.
detailed than original. The
Yeah,
one
they
thing,
even
however, I
added
didn't.
effects and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's the one thing I thought was kind of played too much was the sparks. I liked it the first time for the face reveal. Then it played like 3 more times, I think, and kind of distracted me. But it was great. These guys did a great job. Have you seen they do a series called VFX Artist Reacts. Have you seen those?
Oh yeah, of course. I
Those
love
are
every single
incredible.
There's a
So
lot
you guys
of
should check them out.
ones.
They do a lot of great videos. They do some Star Wars stuff too, not just deepfakes, but they've done tons before as well. Like they made Star Wars R-rated with some
Yeah.
like gory and stuff.
Yeah.
It was pretty great. Okay, so that's it for this Luke Skywalker topic. Again, if you guys haven't seen it, go check it out. Let me know what your thoughts are on it below. Max S4646 says in the chat, I cried like a baby at the finale of Mandalore season 2. Dude, I did too. Max, that was such an emotional moment for me. Some of the best Star Wars I've seen. I was crying too. There's actually a reaction video I did that's, I believe, is linked in the description below. You could check that out. It was very emotional, and you shouldn't be ashamed. I'm proud that I cried during that scene. But thanks for sending that in, Max. And Mr. High Ground says, perfect ending, in my opinion. Right there with you, buddy. I think it was a perfect ending. It almost felt like a series finale, you know?
Almost, yeah.
Ending. All right, so let's go into our second topic today, and we're going to be talking about this new book that was announced by Lucasfilm, and it's a new Skywalker biography book. So on Thursday last week, it was released that the book called Skywalker, A Family at War will deal with 3 generations of Skywalker across 9 films and several other pieces of canon media. Associate editor of StarWars.com, Kristen Baver, will explore not only the characters' lives, but also the key events linked to them that changed the Star Wars universe forever, from Shmi Skywalker all the way to Ben Solo and the Scavenger Rey. This book has it all. So that was their official press release. This is the cover for the book, which is pretty awesome, I think. Look at that. Isn't that great? Let me get rid of this. There we go. Skywalker, A Family at War. Now, why are we talking about a book like this? Because it's going to be the first one of its kind from Star Wars. It's written from the perspective as they're real people, and it's going to be a biography about their lives. I think that's fascinating. I think that's a great way to write a book about Star Wars from a certain point of view. So here's a quote from the author. She says, I'm so thrilled to be able to tell the story of the Skywalkers through the lens of a biographer. Oh, sorry, guys. I lost my camera for a second. There we go. Okay. I knew I wanted to treat the family as if they were real people with compassion and empathy, while simultaneously crafting an unflinching portrait of their accomplishments and their failures. These characters are larger than life, yet so fragile and unmistakably human, and that comes into focus when you study how their actions impact the greater galaxy and their family. So it's not announced when this book will actually come out. I believe it is this year, probably by summer. There's no official date yet, but I'm so excited about this book. I really am. Oftentimes it's hard for me to get excited about books like this, memoirs, biography type stuff, but I think this is a fresh take. What are your thoughts on this, Mark?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a good read. What did you describe it was gonna be? It was gonna be from a different perspective, like from the not within the family, just other people's perspective. Is that what it says?
Yeah, so it sounds to me like it's going to be chronological. It'll start with Shmi Skywalker and it'll be like a biography about her life. And then the next chapter will probably be young Anakin and his biographical story. And then all the way up to Rey and Ben Solo.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool. Yeah, because it's definitely gonna include, some things that we might not know or things that we already know. So it should be a fun read for sure. I'll definitely pick it up.
Yeah, I'm most excited about the fact that it is fiction, but it's going to be written as nonfiction. I just think that's so cool. And it'll be
Yeah.
like, because to me, these characters are already real, you know?
Yeah.
They exist in my head and in my life, but now it'll kind of amplify that times 10. I'm just really excited about this book. So you guys should go check out the statement on starwars.com, their press release about it. But again, this is the book cover, which I think is pretty beautiful as well. All right. So let's go into our third main topic today. How you guys doing in the chat? You guys doing okay? I haven't heard from you yet. Let me know if you're doing okay. What do you guys think of all this news that's coming out? I want to hear from you. All right. So our third topic today is talking about Alan Tudyk, and his character, K2SO, is actually not going to be in the Andor series. So for those of you who don't know what Alan Tudyk actually looks like, check this out. This is Alan Tudyk and his famed character from Rogue One, K2SO. So while Lucasfilm announced that K2SO was going to be a part of the upcoming Andor series, Alan Tudyk, the actor who helped bring him to life in Rogue One, reveals that he's not currently involved with the series. Now, I have some quotes from him that I'll read, but I just want to start off by saying, what? When they announced the show, they brought him and gosh, what's his name? Diego Luna on stage to announce the show. And now they're like, oh no, he's not gonna be in it. Like, why would they do that? I mean, I understand maybe he's busy, but they made the announcement with him. What are your first thoughts on this? Have you heard of this already, or is this news to you?
I mean, yeah, this is actually news to me. Like, he was such, his character and him was such a big part of that film, and in my opinion, he was, he stole the show. For him to not be part of the this new project, that's kind of mind blowing. I'm scratching my head on what's actually going on. What's the real story behind that? What's the real reason? So
yeah, there's got to be something else. I for one wasn't excited about Andor from the first time it was announced. I'm gonna watch it, of course, because I host a Star Wars channel. But when they announced K2SO was going to be his sidekick in the show, I was like, okay, I really like K2, and I love their banter, their relationship they have. So I was a little bit more excited. But now that I hear he's not going to be in it, I'm just kind of right back to where I was before, and that kind of saddens me. Oh, look at that. Aisa's in the chat. Hi, doing well. Love the stream. Hello, Aisa. We were actually just talking about you with a song we all did together called Friends. Again, there'll be links in to see you. Max S is back, and he says, I'm not a big fan that he is not in season 1. We're not either, dude. We're not either. Let me share some of these quotes that I have from Alan Tudyk himself. Okay. So he says, they're shooting it right now. I'm not in it. But if it stays on the air, stories keep getting told, I'll end up in there. I turn 50 in March. So I hope they're getting into it soon, because I'm not going to be on stilts in like 5 years. I am not doing it. So he expressed, he's definitely interested in being in the show. And it sounds like maybe he was expecting to be in it. And he also says, you know, he's getting older and being on those stilts all day to play that robot it's hard on your shins and on his legs, and the fact that he's getting older. So he's saying, I hope they do it like soon because I'm not going to want to do it later, which is kind of sad to hear. Because what if the show's successful and it keeps getting renewed for seasons? You know, I mean, but
True.
that's from his. Sounds like when they were announced that he was going to be in the show with Diego Luna, they hadn't even written the script yet, maybe, and that he didn't know. He thought he was going to be in it. But this is very interesting news, and also kind of sad to hear that, you know, he hopes he gets included because he's getting older and might not be able to walk on the stilts anymore. You have any thoughts on
Yeah.
this, Mark?
On the fact that on his physicality, you know, I definitely understand that. You know, hitting your 50s, and you know, you won't be able to do as many physical things as you used to. But I don't know. I guess it's misunderstanding of what's why would they bring him on, and then him stating that he's not going to be actually on the show. I'm thinking he might be on the second season if it gets renewed for a second season. But
That's what it sounds like. Yeah.
yeah, but it's still confusing to the fans, you know, for people who are anticipating the show. Like, why would you bring him on to show, you know, that he's going to be on it? Because what if it doesn't, you know, work this first season?
Yeah. So I mean, Tony Gilroy is the showrunner for this show. You know, he's the secret director for Rogue One, who they claim was directed by Gareth Edwards, but I do believe Tony Gilroy directed the majority of that movie and made it really great. He's show running it. He's obviously attached to the story because he wasn't interested in doing Star Wars at all in the beginning of Rogue One, but he's into it because he's invested in the story and these characters. So I trust him. You know, it's similar to how I trust Favreau to run The Mandalorian, even though I have no idea how to go with that, you know.
Yeah.
But it's sad news in general that, you know, Alan Tudyk's not going to be in it. He's great in everything, in all the stuff he does. I think he's wonderful. All right, let me check the chat here. Aisa says, "Oh, I missed that part." Well, there's this great little feature called Rewind that you can do on YouTube, and you can check out any part of the show that you missed. But I'm just kidding. I'm giving her a hard time because I know everybody. All right, so we're going to move into our last topic today. Our last topic it's not a fun topic to talk about. And to be honest with you, I didn't want to talk about it, but I think it's important. And, you know, it's important to be aware of this kind of stuff, and to, you know, it is important to talk about it rather than just ignoring it and hoping it goes away. And I'm thinking about this new issue that happened on social media. Star Wars issued a statement last week condemning racist harassment against their employees. And I'll be reading from an article on Insider that you guys can check out if you want to. So this is kind of an outside perspective on it. It's nothing too one-sided. So Star Wars has condemned bullying and racism directed at Christina Ariel, but many fans are underwhelmed by the statement, seeing it as long overdue. So first, we have to address who is Christina Ariel. Okay. Well, here's a picture on her Instagram that she posted recently. And she was recently announced as the new host of the High Republic Show, which is an upcoming web series that will explore the creation of the new High Republic series, comics, and books. And you can see in her post here, she says, "I can officially scream, I'm the host of the new official web series High Republic Show. The first episode airs January 27th, which is actually in 2 days. So if you guys want to check it out, go ahead." And she says it's on the official Star Wars YouTube channel. "Thank you so much. Incredible opportunity." And she can't wait to explore the High Republic era. So yeah, Star Wars has 3 shows on their YouTube now: the Star Wars show, What's New This Week, and now the High Republic show. So congrats to you, Christina, for being a host of that. I've always kind of wanted to be a host on a Star Wars show, like on the YouTube channel, for a while. So I'm excited to see other people get it too. But yeah, so Ariel has since posting that been subject to a bunch of racist vitriol from all corners of the Star Wars fandom. largely in response to her tweets when she was condemning systemic racism in the US. And we've been having a lot of issues with that recently, way too much for this past year. And it's sad, it's disgusting, it's disturbing. And unfortunately, we have to talk about it again here today. But again, I think talking about it will help get rid of it in some way, but it's important to talk about these things. So I'm going to put this up really quickly. These are just a few of the examples she put up on her Twitter. And I know it's a little disturbing to look at, but these are some of the messages she's been getting from people. And, they're using discriminatory names. They're putting slander in there, just terrible things to say to this person. And all she did was just say it's important for us to understand systemic racism and how it's bad, and it's just bad for everybody in the community. So on Friday, the official Star Wars account on Twitter responded to the mounting harassment with this post here. We support, our Star Wars community is one of hope and inclusivity. We do not stand for bullying and racism. We support Christina Ariel, as do we on this show, very much so. And many fans were appreciative of this statement, describing it as important. However, there were also many fans that were quick to note past failures by the franchise to protect its cast and crew members of color. An example here from Julia Alexander from The Verge writes, "It's great to see Lucasfilm and Disney realize that they should stand up for members of their community who face unspeakable hateful harassment. It's still infuriating they did not do this for John Boyega, Kelly Marie Tran, Daisy Ridley. This is good, but we as fans should always ask for better." And it's true. If for those of you that don't know, Kelly Marie Tran was bullied off of social media. Daisy Ridley got sick of social media, and she left as well. John Boyega, he's suffered harassment on social media as well, but what really did it for him was just the fact that he thought his character in the Skywalker saga was treated poorly, and because he was a person of color, and he claims they just put him in there to kind of check off a box and didn't really care about what they were going to do with him. Yeah. One of the biggest examples of this is the Force Awakens poster. Here's a picture of it here. So the American poster shows him as a main character, a very big character on the actual paper itself. But then the Chinese poster came out and they shrunk his character because they thought that he was putting a black person in their poster would give it less box office revenue. So they shrunk him. And he was hurt by this, understandably so. But the main thing today we're talking about is Christina Ariel. Overall, like I said, it's disturbing to read and talk about, but it's important for us to kind of explain what's going on. And Mark, I'm glad you're here today because being a person of color, I'm sure you have a complete different look at this than I do, a different perspective, unfortunately. And I'm sure you've dealt with stuff like this before too. So I would love to hear your thoughts on this, and any examples you can think of that you can relate with in your personal life. Just what do you think about all this sad news?
Yeah, I mean, it's just overall, it's very saddening to hear the news about this, and the fact that we're you know we're subjected to treating people and bullying people, based on the color of their skin, like, and the fact that this is within a community of something like Star Wars, where the characters are diverse as much as the world is, but the fact that there's still hatred and bullying uh against one person who is just trying to do the best that they can for for something that everybody loves is very heartbreaking. And I'm glad that Disney and Lucasfilm, Star Wars as a franchise, is backing her, and just definitely condemning any kind of racial behavior, towards her, because I mean, that doesn't do anything, that doesn't change, you know it's just a bad example. That's not who we are as these Star Wars fans. Like, it's very, very heartbreaking to hear.
Yeah.
I'm glad that at least there's a small change that's happening, even though you know it's not going to change the full situation, which is racism. That's just it's another step in the right direction. But
You bring up a great point about Star Wars always having been inclusive, and it's not just current events where Star Wars has suffered from uh, this vitriol and harassment towards their cast and crew and employees. Ahmed Best is a great example from the prequels. Jar Jar Binks, that guy got all the hate anybody had towards the Phantom Menace, whether it was about Jar Jar Binks or not. It was directed at Ahmed Best, and he suffered a
yeah,
lot for that. Thankfully, he's in a good place now. Another
yeah.
example is the boy who played young Anakin. I'm blanking on his name, but he also suffered a lot of harassment
Oh, Jake Lloyd.
online news. Jake Lloyd, thank you. Yeah. So, but I think Julia Alexander from The Verge brings up a good point. It's great that Star Wars made this announcement and defended her, but why did it take so long for
Yeah,
them to do that? Why didn't they come out when Kelly Marie Chan was harassed? When Daisy Ridley, the star of those films, came out? Because it's not just about the fact that these are people of color, not Daisy Ridley, but they're also women.
yeah,
Most of the women get hated on the most, and so I don't understand, because some of the most important Star Wars characters are women. Princess Leia, for one, the obvious answer. I love that shirt. And everyone loves Leia. What I understand, there's problems people have with like a storyline or dialogue that may not even be their fault, but to hate on the person themselves, it just the main issue is, why is Lucasfilm so delayed on standing up for these people? I'm sure they've had their own discussions in-house with
yeah,
everybody, but something that gets this big, they have to make a public statement about it, I believe. And something like the High Republic show, which, to be honest with you, is not going to be the highest ranking thing on their YouTube. It's a
yeah,
smaller thing compared to these bigger movies that they've had.
yeah.
And they address the smaller ones, but not the bigger ones. And I'm kind of struggling trying to find out like what took so long for them to address it for for women or people of color. What do you think about that?
I mean, it's always better to do something than rather not to do anything. Better late than never, I guess. But it sucks that it came down to that. Why is it this situation made them come out and speak? So I mean, on a bigger picture, it's at least they said something, than rather than ignoring it themselves as well, just making the problem even bigger. So
Yeah.
I think from here on out, the whole franchise and the company will always support from here on out. But it's just it does suck that it took them so long. I agree with that, because yeah, especially with John Boyega's situation, like he was supposed to be a full blown Jedi.
You're right. Yeah, John Boyega was actually, I thought, had the most interesting s- potential
Story,
story.
yeah,
A
totally.
stormtrooper that you know abandons the Empire and joins the rebels. Could have been an amazing story in that.
Oh
One of the
yeah,
most potential characters. Great story. Some of the people in the chat are chiming in as well. Max S4646 says, "I'm sad that we have to fight against racism in 2021." It seems like it's one of those things that could go away one day, but for some reason I feel like we haven't moved. We've gone backwards, and I feel like we're in the 60s again, where things are. In 2020, it was pretty bad, but yeah, in
yeah.
2021, you're right. Mr. High Ground says Jar Jar is amazing. Jar Jar is amazing. I did a video about Jar Jar Binks last week, which is kind of a funny video if you guys want to check it out. Not directly about Jar Jar Binks, but somebody attacked a person with a Jar Jar Binks model, and it like
Oh,
broke their ribs. And I'm explaining it terribly, but it's a funny video and it's a true story. You should go check it out. It's
Oh my
crazy stuff
god.
in the UK. Aisha says it wasn't trendy to stand up for racism and discrimination then, and it's a trend now. It wasn't trendy to stand up for racism and discrimination then. Oh, I see.
Yeah, yeah, I see what she's saying. Yeah, I mean, and that's true because of social media. If someone like Bernie Sanders back in the day who stood up for civil rights and everything like that, you know, he did what he did, but no one really talks about it until now.
Yeah. Mr. Highground says you should make a playlist of your live stream so we can see what you were discussing if we missed it. There is a playlist for the live streams. If you go over to the YouTube main page, click on playlist, there's a live stream list where you can see everything that we do live. And also, obviously, the podcast, they're listed as live stream as well. But thank you for the suggestion. I hope you go check those out. And if you do, leave a comment so I know which ones you liked. I used to ask what happened with Daisy. So this was a long time ago. I think during Force Awakens, she was kind of just overwhelmed with the press and the fanfare, and she was also getting like harassed and sexually and gender-based harassment for being in the Force Awakens, and that caused her to get rid of all of her social media. So she hasn't been on it since, and it's kind of sad because I used to follow her and I really loved her posts, and now if we see from her, it's in an interview, which is kind of sad to see.
People have a hard time with change, It's like the fact that she was the first female lead in a Star Wars franchise. Some people didn't like that. So they're used to always having a male lead, male hero.
Again, another great example of another fantastic character that had great potential as well. That's a different story. But yes, the first lead that we've seen in Star Wars at all. What's funny though, Mark, I don't know if you watch my show regularly, but last Wednesday I did an episode about the original versions of Star Wars A New Hope. Did you know Luke Skywalker in the third draft of that script was going to be a woman?
I did not know that, actually.
So George Lucas he realized in I think it was second or third draft that he didn't have a lead female, and he wanted a lead female. He had Princess Leia in there, but she was at this point a side character, not important, very little screen time. And so he was like, I'll just make Luke Skywalker the female lead. No one's really done that. And which would have been amazing, I think, for that time period. Would have never been done before, The only reason he switched it back was because he wanted Luke to be a reflection on himself. Hence George Lucas. So that's the only reason. But at one point, Luke Skywalker was a girl. It's a very interesting thing to think about.
Dang.
Speaking of the older Star Wars and staying on this topic of systemic racism and inclusiveness in Star Wars, the charge that Star Wars is racist dates all the way back to 1977. This isn't a new thing. Back then, people complained that the only person of color in the original film was Darth Vader, not because he was voiced by an African American, but because he was literally black. Those were real complaints that were given by people at that time period. And to counter this criticism, that's when George Lucas decided to hire Billy D. Williams in The Empire Strikes Back. Now, he didn't do that because he had to. Originally, Han Solo was actually going to be an African American. That's also covered in last week's episode of the original scripts of A New Hope. Originally, Princess Leia was a Japanese girl. Han Solo was a black man, and Luke Skywalker was a white man, and he wanted to have a very diverse cast. So Billy D. Williams was eventually going to be, maybe not Billy D., but there was going to be people of color. But the criticism towards A New Hope encouraged him to go ahead and boot it up forward a little bit more. Yeah. And it wasn't until Return of the Jedi that we actually saw for the first time Asians and blacks and females as X-Wing pilots. So it was slowly getting more diverse, but you got to remember at the time, it was rare to do that kind of thing. So he took his time with it, but at a certain point, everything began to become very inclusive and diverse. And Star Wars I believe, has always made a statement against discrimination in the vocabulary of space fantasy. And I'll explain what I mean. That it's, in the original trilogy, when you think of the Empire, Mark, who are the bad guys? They're a bunch of white British dudes, right?
Yeah.
The bad guys are a bunch of white British men. And even the bounty hunters they hire, those are the only ones that are like aliens, right? But everyone
Right.
else is a white man. But even then, they refer, like the Imperials refer to those bounty hunters as scum or alien scum. And the Empire remains distinctly xenophobic and speciesist as an organization.
Yeah.
Now, the rebels, you could argue, also had no humans of color, but they are welcome to non-humans such as Wookiees, Calamari, Solistani, and they, while they didn't have many people of color until Return of the Jedi, they were in a metaphorical way open to all races and species by including different aliens and creatures, while as the Empire did not. So that's how they were metaphorically relating to this racism in our world in that way. And I have a quote here from George Lucas about this whole topic. As this was back in the 80s, he said, one of the main themes in these films is having organisms realize that they must live together for mutual advantage. Not just human beings, but all living things in the galaxy are part of a greater whole. And that's kind of what we've been talking about here today. In our own world and in the Star Wars world, it's important to be inclusive and diverse in everything you do. And it's sad when things don't go that way, but you know what? That's just the Empire, and we got to take them down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, the whole story has so many metaphors for real life situations,
Very much so. Yeah. And yeah, not just that, like politics as well, obviously. Prequels.
Oh yeah, definitely. What do you think? What are your thoughts on the Japanese characters in the Phantom Menace?
Oh, the aliens. Now there are two of them. Okay, first of all, I'm glad they were trying to get in diverse cast members, but those aliens would have been so much better if they were subtitled with like alien voice.
Yeah, totally.
It would have taken out the cheese a little bit, but it also would have been a little bit more intimidating, I think. But I don't know. They were always kind of wonky. They were like the Luke deepfake we have now, where their lips don't really match what they're saying.
My favorite was from Revenge of the Sith, the one that had the surfer voice. He's coming from the main hangar bay. Like, he was definitely a SoCal surfer.
California representation. Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, you know what I just read recently? This has nothing to do with Star Wars, but we've kind of covered all our main topics. But so, I mean, it's me and you know that COVID is really bad in LA. It's the hot spot of the world for those of you that don't live here or are knowledgeable in that.
Sure
LA is the hot spot of the world. Over 1 million cases. And they announced yesterday, I think, that some scientists have trained dogs to sniff out COVID in humans. So
that's the first I've heard of it. Wow.
So they're using it for football games. So or basketball. I'm not really sure. I don't follow sports. MLB. So
baseball.
Oh, okay. Baseball. So if someone wants to go to the game, they walk through like a line where a dog sniffs them, and they can sniff out if they have COVID or not. And if they have it, the dog sits down. And it's proven to be 94% effective. I think that's crazy. Isn't that crazy? That a dog can sniff it out?
Yeah, that is pretty crazy, but also very useful.
Yeah. That dog reserves a medal of honor.
I'm gonna have to get one of those dogs and train them so I can have parties again.
And anyone who's curious about harming the dogs, don't worry. Dogs can't get coronavirus, so don't worry about that. Well, that's it for that last topic. today. Mark, do you have anything else to say on that topic specifically? If not, we could just talk about whatever.
I hope to God that it's never a topic again. To be honest, which is gonna, it's a hard question, hard thing to ask for, but just because it's so prevalent with our society. But I hope it's never, an issue that that we have to deal with. But it's gonna be a slow battle.
You know what? It is a big ask, but it's a fair ask. And we're seeing Star Wars do a lot more inclusivity, diversity. They're bringing in LGBT characters. There was 2 in The Rise of Skywalker.
Yes, yeah.
That is another story towards this. Why the hypocrisy from this Twitter statement, because they cut out the female kiss in the Chinese version of The Rise of Skywalker. So it's like, if you're going to make a statement like this, you have to take action as well. Words are great, but doing something about it is even better. Don't worry about the monetary value of something. If you're going to put a lesbian or a gay person in your story, go full on. Like, don't be afraid. I mean, it'll hurt a little bit, but China will progress someday too. If that's and I don't understand all the history about that, but this is just what has been reported on and facts that they diminish LGBT and African American characters for the sake of China market, which it's bizarre to me. But yes, I think things are going to get better. They're doing a lot of great stuff recently, and especially with the Mandalorian, like that when they bring in on the ending of season 2, and they had all those girls fight in the last bit, and it was just the girls fighting. It was it didn't feel forced. It didn't. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Sometimes if I relate it back to the Avengers Endgame, when all the females got together,
about to say that.
That was a great scene, but it was a little forced. I'm not gonna lie.
It was.
I love it. I love it. But
it's
it
just
made
the
no sense.
execution.
Yeah, and this one, it made sense in the Mandalorian, and it was pretty great. Dude, I miss Marvel movies. It's been a while since we've had one.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we were supposed to get Black Widow last year. That's being delayed. Who even knows when it's gonna really come out? But I'm super excited for all the other projects that's happening.
Are you watching WandaVision?
Yeah, I am, and I don't really have an opinion on it yet. I'm not sure if I like it. I'm not sure if I hate it. It's just, I'm just watching just those first few episodes. I mean, it's entertaining, nonetheless. But
if you start to like it, you should come join me and my girlfriend on our WandaVision show. If you find yourself enjoying the show,
definitely
come on and talk about it.
Hop on. Yeah, let's give it a couple more weeks.
Mr. Highground says, great stream today. You never disappoint me. Thanks for sharing your thoughts. Thank you, Mr. Highground, for being here, not just today, but on other shows as well. It means so much to me that you guys come back and listen. And, if you're still with us and you want any other questions asked, be happy to answer them with the little bit of time we have left here. But no, thank you. Thank you for being here. And Aisa says, from drug dogs to COVID dogs. Yeah, and you said it better than I could. Whoa. Cool. Real quick before we get out of here, we're going to take a second and hear from our sponsor of today's episode. So sit back for just a minute here and take a listen. Thank you so much for watching. Today's video is sponsored by Audible. Audible is an online audiobook and podcast service that allows users to purchase and stream audiobooks and other forms of spoken word content. And because you listen to my show, I'm going to give you a 30-day free trial to Audible. Just go to the link in the description below, www.audibletrial.com/HanTalksFirst. My resolution this year is to read more books. They make you smarter, but they can also bring you closer to the things you love, like Star Wars. Now, if you're like me and you try to get your hands on every single Star Wars book you can possibly find, then you probably have the same problem I do: shelf space. But it's not just about that. Audible is the leading creator and provider of premium audio storytelling, enriching the lives of millions of listeners every day. Audible has everything you need: audiobooks, Audible originals, podcasts, and more. Thousands of titles. And you can listen anywhere, anytime, on your phone, on your computer, in your car, and they're always launching new content. And it's less than $10 a month with the Audible Plus plan. But like I said, you can get 30 days for free with the link in the description below, www.audibletrial.com/Han Talks First. It's time to start listening, my friends. Link below. Enjoy. So yes, thank you Audible for sponsoring this show. And if you guys want to use their services, you won't be disappointed. Go to the link below. That's really all I got today, Mark. What about you?
Man.
Any last thoughts?
No, just thank you so much for having me, man. It was a pleasure, and it was a lot of fun. I hope to be back again and discuss more Star Wars with you, man. It's always a fun time.
Oh, hell yeah. Real quick before we get out of here, just give me one favorite Star Wars moment, battle, character, movie. Just give me one thing about why you love Star Wars, and then we'll get out of here.
You know me. I'm definitely like a fight scene guy. Like I love lightsaber battles, and one scene I always watch at least dozens of times a year is just that scene from the Phantom Menace where Obi-Wan and Darth Maul go at it right when the laser door opens. Just the combination of moves always is a great choreography, and it's one of my favorite scenes.
It's one of the best things of Star Wars. George Lucas killed it. Ewan killed it. Hayden killed, or not Hayden.
Hayden got killed. It's gonna.
He got killed.
I can't wait for that. Kenobi.
Oh, it's gonna be awesome. We'll do a show when that comes out together too.
Yes, please.
Tell people where they can find your content and your social media and all that kind of
Totally, for sure. Yeah, you can find my music all on Spotify, Apple Music, whatever platform you choose to use. I also have a YouTube channel, all music related, called Barcata Music. So go ahead and check that out if you can. We do music video reactions, and it's gonna be a fun time.
Send me a link to that, and
Totally.
I will put it in the description of this video so they can check it out.
For sure.
And then social media too. Did you?
Oh yeah,
that?
you can find me Marc Lawrence Music on everything. MARC with a C.
Go check out some of his stuff online, guys. Again, I'll put some links in the description below. That's it for Mark. Thank you so much for being here, man. And for everybody else, thank you so much for being here today. This was a great stream with a great friend. You can find us on Wednesday here on the YouTube and on the podcast. We're doing another episode. And on Friday, we have a live show hosted by me and my girlfriend talking about WandaVision. It's the WandaVision after show. So you can come check us out there. And that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the show. Leave a comment below what you thought, what you want to hear us talk about next week or on Wednesday. Like this because it helps tremendously. And until next time, my friends, somehow, some way, somewhere this week, may the Force be with you.
So who talks first? You talk first? I talk first.